Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 17 Pro and compare it against the iPhone 14 Pro Max and see how these two phones kind of hold up and compare. Now, the thing I will definitely tell you is that within these types of devices, both of these types of phones are very good options. However, the 17 Pro is clearly the one that's going to be the more expensive one. It's going to be the flagship, and that's the one that I would recommend a lot more people to go ahead and basically buy. So, I will be honest, the 14 Pro Max still has a couple of features up its sleeves that I really do like, but the 17 Pro could be the one, that you could upgrade to, but there's a lot of phones in between that are really good too, and we'll explain everything throughout this whole entire video. But if you want to go through and pick up either one of these particular phones, links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there, and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these particular devices. The iPhone 14 Pro Max originally came out back in 2022, and within this type of device, it was always very interesting because it was actually a very good type of phone that Apple made. It was one of the biggest phones they made at the time as well. On the front side of this phone, it was giving you a 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display, and that was a massive panel at that time, and that still is such a massive display. Like, you were actually getting a very big size phone inside of the iPhone 14 Pro Max. It was an always-on display. It was one of the first dynamic island iPhones. It was giving you, a ProMotion display, 120 Hertz. It really is one of those phones that you can basically look at and still think to yourself that you're getting such a solid experience from this type of phone. And that was something that I genuinely loved about these types of phones because they were so good and they were giving you a bunch of capability. The iPhone 17 Pro, on the other hand, is giving you a slightly smaller 6.3-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. So this one's a little bit different because it is going to be a little bit smaller, but it still feels like a very good type of phone. It is also giving you a ProMotion display, it's an always-on display, and it's a dynamic island as well. So that is another really big advantage for these types of phones because you're able to go through and still get like a very big sized phone. Obviously, it's not the biggest sized phone in the world, but it's still a good sized panel that's significantly smaller than the 14 Pro Max with less bezel. You have to keep that in mind. There is less bezel on the 17 Pro than the 14 Pro Max. On the bottom, you're getting a lightning port on the iPhone 14 Pro Max, where the 17 Pro is giving you a USB Type-C port. This is also going to be another big advantage for something like the iPhone 17 Pro. Having USB Type-C is a really big advantage, and that right there is going to be one of the biggest takeaways there than the lightning port on the 14 Pro Max. On the back side, you're getting frosted glass backs on the back of both these. Triple camera setups, LiDAR sensors, MagSafe capability, wireless charging, lots of similar things between them. The 17 Pro does have a few things though. It is giving you that, reverse wired charging. So you can charge up other devices from your iPhone 17 Pro. You can also go through and still maintain your camera button and your action button. Those two things are missing on the iPhone 14 Pro Max, but you do get them inside of the iPhone 17 Pro. So there are a lot of things to love about the 17 Pro. I'm a very big fan of that phone. The 14 Pro Max though, for being as old as it is, I think it still is actually holding up decently well from that particular perspective. Now, when it comes down to the price tag, the iPhone 17 Pro is about $1,100. So if you're about to go through and pick up a device, the 17 Pro has a pretty high likelihood of, being significantly more expensive. The 14 Pro Max is probably going to cost you around $400 or $500 maybe. So it's going to be cheaper than something like the 17 Pro by less than half the cost. So kind of keep that in mind as you're kind of looking at these types of devices as well. Now, when it comes down to the cameras, this is also another big takeaway. They're both giving you triple camera setups, but they're both very, very different. The iPhone 14 Pro Max is basically going to be able to give you 3x zoom maximum, so it's not bad, where the 17 Pro is giving you 8x zoom. So that right there is also going to be a big difference when it comes down to that camera department, because if you're trying to get the camera that's better, both can do 4K 60 on the front and the back, but the 17 Pro does give you 4K 120. That is a really big advantage for that phone. You're getting way more zooming in capability on the 17 Pro. That's another really big advantage. And you're getting two new front camera kind of features. Center stage capability on the front side. So if you're taking photos on that front camera, you have that type of capability. And if you want to go ahead and use dual capture, which is filming the backside and the front side at the same time of that camera, that is also another really big advantage. So you're getting these really awesome features inside of something like the iPhone 17 Pro. However, if anything that I just mentioned to you doesn't seem like that big of a difference or even anything like that, then I still think something like an iPhone 14 Pro Max camera is still very, very good. Like you're still getting a really good type of experience on that type of phone. And I feel like that in and of itself is going to be another really big advantage there. So kind of keep that in mind. In my personal opinion, I think these types of devices do a really good job. And that pretty much covers it up here for the most part. When it comes down to software longevity, this is also going to be another big takeaway. Both these phones are still supported with software, but if you're trying to get the phone that is going to last you for a longer period of time, the iPhone 17 Pro has the highest likelihood of lasting for the longest period of time. As of today, me making this, the iPhone 17 Pro is the longest lasting iPhone along with the 17 Pro Max and probably the Air and the 17. So if you are trying to get the phone that is going to last for a longer period of time, then something like the iPhone 17 Pro has the highest likelihood of kind of doing something like that. But I still feel like with the 14 Pro Max, this is still a phone that still is going to be very good. It's going to be a very, very beautiful phone. But the iPhone 17 Pro, like I said before, has the highest likelihood of probably being the better one here. When it comes down to some other areas, kind of like the battery life situation, the iPhone 17 Pro is going to be giving you basically around 33 hours of video playback, where the iPhone 14 Pro Max is giving you about 29 hours of video playback. So that right there is also going to be another big thing, because if you're trying to get the phone that's going to last for a longer period of time, once again, the iPhone 14 Pro Max's battery life is going to be very, very good. But the 17 Pros is going to be about, significantly better. Even only saying 4 hours isn't doing it justice, because I feel like it's going to last even longer than that. So kind of keep that in mind as well. And finally, when it comes down to the performance, the iPhone 14 Pro Max is giving you the Apple A16 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 17 Pro is giving you the Apple A19 Pro chipset inside with 12 gigabytes of RAM. So if you're trying to get the phone that's going to be giving you faster performance and just better capability all throughout, something like the iPhone 17 Pro, that one is by far going to be the faster phone here. It's going to be faster, it's giving you twice the amount of RAM, and that's the type of phone that I would look at as probably being the better one, probably for a vast majority of people. But I also look at something like the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and I feel like that type of phone is also still very, very decent. It's not terrible. It still is going to be giving you a good type of experience, a good type of capability. But like I stated before, if you're trying to get the phone that's going to be lasting for a longer period of time, especially from that performance standpoint, the iPhone 17 Pro is probably going to be the one for you from that side as well. So to kind of sum it up, what I definitely will tell you is that the iPhone 14 Pro Max, I think, it's still a good phone for how old this phone is. For it approaching 3 years old, over 3 years old at this point, it's not a bad phone. I still think it's completely worth buying and completely worth using. But there are a couple of features the 17 Pro has that makes me think that is a better phone for sure. But you don't have to go spend $1,100 for the 17 Pro. I think you can go and spend a little bit more money on an iPhone 16 Pro or a 15 Pro and save some money. And you can go through and get a good upgrade coming from the 14 Pro Max. With a 16 Pro or a 15 Pro, you're still getting USB-C, you're still getting the, reverse wire charging, you're getting a better camera, better capability, faster phone, Apple Intelligence, though things like that you're still getting on those phones. So you don't have to go and spend all that money on a 17 Pro unless there were specific features I mentioned today that stand out to you. Otherwise, I think something like a 17 Pro is a very good upgrade and I highly recommend buying it for sure. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.